again. I knew it would be you. You always call around this time, and I'm always eager to give you the latest item I have excavated from the depths of obscurity. No one would believe this if they were printed in a newspaper, but you do realize that, right? But they'd be more open to accept them as anecdotes cast about on the internet. What an amusing idea. Amazing how the mind works. But then again, perhaps that says something about our channels of communication and conveyance of information. Trivia, I say. Let us commence. His name, Stafford Stabio, age 25, an adventurer concerned with discovery and gold in the land of the sun. Location, Yucatan, Mexico. Date, 2014. Not that long ago. The cenote of Mexico are sinkholes in limestone earth. They can be beautiful swim holes or creepy and dangerous traps in which people and animals may fall and never climb out. Stafford Stabio had discovered an unknown cenote in the Yucatan Peninsula, one with steep walls and deep, clear waters. This is his story. Today, most cenote are discovered and celebrated. Many have been carved out and humanly decorated with clever additions to allow them to become the most lush and exotic swimming areas of all the earth. The water is generally filtered up through the limestone earth to rectify it into a pure and clear form. Thus, exploring these areas is extremely easy for an advanced swimmer or diver. Add to the mere fascination of natural phenomena the amazing and mysterious history surrounding some of these cenote, and you create a hunger for adventurers to find and document the unexplored holes. During the Mayan period, some of these sinkholes were used for their culture's human sacrifices, and the bodies of the wasted were disposed down in these cenote, along with copious gold items, now considered priceless relics. Within those depths lie treasures undreamt of, along with corpses of the ancients. The Yucatan is a large area and a deep area of dense forests, creating a verdant wall of immobility. Modern humans have conquered most of it. Or so they believe. However, even satellite imagery doesn't cut through the canopy, and so many artifacts of nature are still hidden within an affluence of vegetation. And thus, an adventurer such as Stafford Stabio, putting boots to ground, can find things others have dismissed, missed, and overlooked. And so here, at this virgin sinkhole in the Yucatan, the story of Stafford Stabio comes to an end. He secured and threw down several thick ropes, more than one, in case something goes wrong and he needed alternatives to get out. Stafford was alone in the hostile Mexican jungle. No precautions were considered unnecessary precautions. He zipped up in a wetsuit, donned a set of tanks after checking their oxygen levels. Full, supplied himself with a belt containing various items for exploration and survival, and took a strong underwater torch before diving off the edge and into the dark waters 30 feet below the edge of the cliff-like feature. Stafford hoped this hole would only be a few meters deep and laden with endless relics made of pure gold. But part of him, his adventurous heart, yearned for an expansive cave system with endless possibilities. He would get both. The water was cold and clear, but deep and dark until light was employed. And then the waters were deep and dark in the distance, but rich with azure blue and jade green in the near features of eroded limestone walls. There was a floor below Stafford, but it was quite a way down. He swam ever deeper, the water compressing his form, making it more difficult to function as he would on the surface. He would pause occasionally to allow acclimation while searching for walls and openings. There were none. Finally, he came down perhaps 30 feet to a floor of roughly shaped limestone with roundels randomly distributed about, obscuring the diver's vision enough that he had to actively search behind each undulation of the floor to find something he truly yearned to find. But there was nothing. Nothing. No Mayan gold. Until he caught a slight glint in his lamp. It was gold! He rushed over and plucked up the object to examine it for untold moments. It was a gold statuette, maybe 2 ounces, perfectly preserved in the clean and cold water. A tiny figure of some kind of god. An ancient god, but no other signs of human remains, no swords or bones or sacrificial favors. Stafford scanned the area, looking beyond the floor, and he found a large cavern branching off to the east, and within he quickly saw another glint of gold, another artifact. It was a gold coin with the Mayan calendar impressed onto it. The coin was perhaps 5 solid ounces of gold. The adventurer's heart leapt. There might have been more, he thought. But how did it get down into this cavern? And how far did this beautifully mysterious cavern reach? Could there be a treasure trove hidden far down? It was possible that the sinkhole would evaporate out and humans could have navigated in air to a hiding place where endless treasure could be kept, stored, to be hidden from the Spanish invaders, or to be furtively stashed by pirates, or the remnants of the extinct Mayan civilization. Another glint! In the distance was another piece of gold. Stafford was right. There must have been more gold pieces deposited back in the cave. This third piece was a Spanish coin, pieces of 8 in solid gold. And soon another glint, and further back, through stalactites and stalagmites, a Dutch piece, and then a Mayan piece. Oh! Stafford now had 5 pieces hanging from his belt in a mesh pouch. He already had enough money to pay for all of his expeditions and equipment. There must be more, he thought. There must be. And then another glint further down, but it was different. There was something moving. A fish. It looked like reflective jade scales swishing beyond the cone of light. Regardless, Stafford had a long and very sharp knife at his disposal. The 6th piece of gold was encrusted with precious rubies, a truly remarkable archaeological find. That was when the fish returned, but it wasn't a fish. A mermaid. It floated in and out of view, quickly, frighteningly, weirdly. Stafford panicked at first. There was a human shape with slightly greenish skin and a long fish-like tail bedecked with reflective jade scales, beautifully, mesmerizingly, flashing a texture of mystifying sparkles and prismatic tones. Long dark hair floated about, trailing the head of the female form. It had an erotically hourglass but svelte figure. Ample breasts were dangling free, floating and dragging along with the cryptid. Her presence was a torture of unfathomed fear and engorged sensuality only a lithe female could engender in a young and virile man. She re-emerged from the dark to flirtily poke back into Stafford's perception. His knife drawn, he awaited a confrontation, a physical battle to the death. No such intent was present in his target. Her face approached, clearly displaying an amiable and unearthly face with wide black eyes, beautifully spaced features, and a welcoming smile. She reached out far and gave him another Mayan gold statuette. Then she whisked herself away into the depths of the cave once more. Stafford was amazed, enthused, and overjoyed. It could be a trap, he thought, but she was so pretty and obviously helpful. Who was she? Were there more of her type about? He didn't care. He had to find the gold she obviously had further back down in this underwater world. He swam and swam as fast as possible, dodging the spires coming down from the roof. Again, he saw her picking up gold items nearby, bringing them toward him. Within a few feet away, the mermaid playfully allowed the pieces of gold to trickle from a webbed hand down over her breasts, then allowing them to fall to the floor. Her mouth was slightly ajar, displaying serrated teeth like a shark, before closing again and smiling playfully at the human before her. She swam off into the distance once again, and he collected his gifted bounty. Collecting the gold, the desirous diver made quickly in her direction. There was most likely a huge trove of Mayan booty right down the way, in a cove or an occulted casket. He swam faster, following the woman's swishing tail several yards ahead as she guided him. And then more gold pieces were around him on the floor, between small stalagmites. Stafford had desperately went along, grabbing at all the pieces scattered about. When done, he looked ahead to the mermaid awaiting him. But more fetching were the curious shapes up and off in the dark of the ceiling a few feet above the newcomer. He looked up, aiming his light to see human shapes stuck to the roof of the cave. Revulsion and fear overtook Stafford. Closer, he saw they were all divers in wet and dry suits floating. Dead. Decomposing within the confines of their form-fitting outfits. Stafford realized he hadn't been checking his air gauge to see if the oxygen was running low this entire journey. In panic, he glanced to see the oxygen was at the empty mark. His euphoria for gold and sexual fascination with the mermaid were heightened by his thinning oxygen levels. And now he was far too far to swim to the surface, but he tried. Turning heel, he fast-flippered his way back toward the cave opening. Alongside him, the mermaid followed, casually keeping pace. As his lungs grew pained and his muscles seized up, his mind grew apathetic and tired, and he slowed down until unable to move. As Stafford faded from life, he saw the intoxicatingly seductive and subtle mermaid before him in the cave. She watched him as he drew closer to death. Her eyes were ablaze with a passion. The passion of his expiration at her clever stratagem she had employed like clockwork to effortlessly end the lives of so many before him. Her hands stroked feverishly along the scales around her frontal crotch area. Faster, faster. Stafford realized she was getting off on her triumph. For whatever reason, he wanted to join her. To make love to her exquisite body, if possible. But it was too late. A spew of ova erupted from the mermaid, arching her back in delight with the climax. And then the water was clouded, and Stafford's eyes closed forever. His name, Carlo Ruiz, age 29. An adventurer concerned with discovery and gold in the land of the sun. Location, Yucatan, Mexico. The date, 2020. Carlo had trekked about the forests of the Yucatan, looking for an opportunity to find gold in an undiscovered sinkhole. He carried diving gear and spelunking equipment on his back across many miles until he discovered a steep-walled sinkhole that no one had seen before. But no, there were several thick ropes, aged by weather and mold and vegetation, draped into this new sinkhole. Not much else was around. No signs of recent activity or camping, no signs of anything indicating traffic that would have depleted the cenote of possible treasures. He tested the ropes dangling into the water, suited up, and then dove in. To see a single gold coin reflecting up to him from below.
Like and subscribe before I die! And ring the little bell or you will surely go to hell.
Oh, we're telling spooky stories. This is not a spooky story. Oh, there's no way in the house I can say.
Depends how you look at it. It is kind of spooky.
I guess so.
Wait, that's it? That's the end of the story?